Brent, welcome to Guitar Shop TV.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
And what do we got here?
Well, you know, what we have is about 45 years of complete insanity, starting to play as a kid like everybody else, and like the other 99% of people out there. I'm another one of those guys that want to be a rock star and end up being a businessman. But along the way, just kept picking up cool things. As you made money in business and stuff, you got other stuff you always wanted as a kid. And this is the insanity you end up with. This is actually a condensed version from an 18,000 square foot studio and HD production facility that we had in Franklin. And when I sold that about 4 years ago, it had to go somewhere. So we built another building out here on the farm, and the result is what you see. We're on the storage side here in a nice 100-degree July day in Tennessee. And this is one of my favorite pieces right here, which is Jimi Hendrix's 1967 Plexi.
Wow.
That due to a large party that occurred on my farm and ended up with a rather massive arson fire where I had this nicely protected. Here you go.
Wow.
So we kept this.
That is.
I still have the cabinet.
Wow.
And Billy Cox had seen it and everything else, so I know he got it at Manny's and all that. But there's a pretty extensive collection. I mean, I'm probably down about 25% from what I used to be. But
how many pieces do you have in the collection?
well, there's over 300 amps, and there's a couple hundred guitars.
Wow.
You know? It probably was as high as 500 amps and maybe 600 guitars,
My
which
God.
I think borders on hoarding, doesn't it?
Right. Oh, that's.
So, but part of that insanity was when I was at the University of Wisconsin. I worked for this band called Sick Man of Europe. Lead singer was named Zeno, and this was a really bad bar band. But eventually, the guitar player went over to Waukesha Bowl and found this great singer whose name was Robin Zander, who was only about a year or two older than me, and Cheap Trick was formed. So I worked with them through college to make money, and I watched how Rick was buying guitars, and I met this whole network of other people outside of 48th Street in Manhattan, which is what I was familiar with as a kid, and just started picking pieces up. And between my collection and Scott's, we have things that Rick gave to us that we bought from him, and it just flowed from there. So it's the usual collector's insanity. People call it a lot of other different things, obsessive compulsive disorder, but I still like to think of myself as a collector.